As I mentioned in headlines, the Israeli army is assaulting Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis with...
which is where Dr. Ahmad was.
Yes. Khan Yunis is one of the cities that is further south in Gaza. Rafah is even further south than Khan Yunis. It's the basically southernmost tip.
This is where they're supposed
Gaza
to go.
Strip. Yes, of the open air prison, of the camp in which these 2+ million Palestinians have been concentrated. If you want to run with that definition, I'm fine with it. For decades at this point. They've just completely decimated the north. Now they are assaulting the largest functioning hospital in the south, in Khan Yunis, in Nasser Hospital, and a ground invasion appears imminent in Rafah, where over 1 million refugees are sheltering, and dozens have already been killed as they slept in their tents because their homes have been already demolished by Israel. And so, that was supposed to be the safe zone. There is nowhere left to go. Egypt doesn't want Palestinian refugees. You can debate that, the humanity of that. I don't agree. I think they should let in whoever, but at the same time, they also think we're enabling this ethnic cleansing, and I've got my own domestic concerns. And, by the way, Egypt receives a ton of military aid from the United States. So our fingerprints are all over the situation. The buck stops with Biden and, of course, the genocidal maniac Netanyahu, who is just unilaterally withdrawing from peace talks, refusing to engage, because the genocide is what he wants to do. And it's either...
this has been policy since the formation of Israel, let's be real.
Of course. But, I don't know what story I need to communicate. We need to communicate. People need to hear for it to finally break through. And yet we'll try, because as that remarkable interview Sam conducted with the doctor who worked in Nasser Hospital, as was discussed during that interview, these are the unseen horrors of this genocide. Women who have just had C-sections, their stitches still raw from hours before their stomachs sliced open, being forced to flee their hospital beds, orphaned children without limbs, shaking from PTSD due to the bombs that we pay for being dropped on them and their families without pain medication. And stories like this. This is Sky News' John Sparks, who does this report, speaks to 3 young children who are now orphans. And one child is special needs. Their parents were killed in a house raid by Israeli soldiers in December. And this is their life now.
People in Gaza have been driven into the corners of the enclave. Life now lived in temporary cities erected around functioning hospitals. At the Gaza European Hospital, people camp outside the emergency department because there's not enough room inside, not enough space for the wave of suffering seen and experienced on the Strip. On the second floor, there's a 5-year-old boy who was hit by a grenade. A fragment passed through his eye and lodged in his brain. But that's just part of Mumin's story. His brother and sister watched it all.
It was lunchtime. We were sitting down.
11-year-old Ahmed Hattab was in the kitchen when Israeli soldiers broke into the family home.
They raided our house and they shot our mum and dad. Then they started shooting at us.
His sister, Buthaina, is 9.
We went to another room, hiding from the soldiers. They started banging on the door, and then they blew it up.
In the first week of December, the Israel Defense Forces launched the second phase of their ground invasion in Gaza, targeting the south.
Okay, we can skip ahead a little bit here because we already know a lot of this, but towards the end, Bradley, where the families continue to tell their story here, because this kind of just fills in what I already said. Their parents were killed. Do we know where we're starting? Okay. So here we go. Yeah.
On December 7th, Father Mohammed Hattab called his brother, a doctor, to alert the Red Cross. Their house had been surrounded by Israeli armor. His brother used WhatsApp. He said that the tanks behind the house and excavator destroyed the near house. It's very difficult to move without permission. This is Mohammed's brother, Omar Hattab, a pediatric surgeon at the Gaza European Hospital.
My brother called me and he said, talk to anybody to deliver us from there because it's very difficult. The situation was very difficult. Shots around the house. So I went to Red Cross and talked with them. I was very, very worried.
Increasingly alarmed, Dr. Omar tried the Red Cross the following day. I called my brother and he said, the tanks around the house can't move at all. It's complicated. Mohammed's son, Mumin, has cerebral palsy. Moving him is difficult, and they wanted to notify the Israelis in advance. On WhatsApp, the Red Cross was reassuring. Their representative said, we've ensured that the houses would not be bombed or destroyed at night and in the future. Their confidence was badly misplaced. These images were posted by the Israelis in mid-December. We see troops applying overwhelming force in residential areas surrounding the Hattab family's home. On December 15th, IDF soldiers stormed their house. The children's aunt, Dua Hattab, says she was in the kitchen when the troops came in.
They knocked down the front wall and entered the house. We were sitting down having lunch at the time. Then my brother Mohammed was shot. He was at the front, waving a white flag.
A grenade was thrown into the crowded kitchen, injuring Mohammed's wife, Hind. Family members say a soldier then shot and killed her. The device blinded Mumin in his left eye. Israeli soldiers found his brother and sister hiding in the bedroom.
They were interrogating us, asking us to show them the tunnels and to tell them where the resistance fighters were. Then they gave us a white flag and told us to walk down Salahuddin Street.
So, we can go to the end if you want. Just wrap it up. I think it's this is good journalism. Good job, Sky News. I want to hear more of these stories, especially just seeing this kid in the wheelchair. Where are they supposed to go? And then the idea that they were given white flags, which was the same way that their father was killed, waving one. We'll wrap this up here.
And an IDF base thrust into the district to the north. The surviving family members walked through that battlefield, reaching Gaza European Hospital the following day. Every time the children cried, someone shot at them, they said. Now, Buthaina sits amongst the tents with her colored pencils. Her favorite color? Pink, she says. Both she and brother Ahmed struggle to speak of their ordeal. Their aunt and uncle are busy now, learning to care for their disabled nephew. They say Mumin cries all night. They don't know how to make him happy.
التنين في نفس اللحظة قدام عينيهم.
They've lost their father and mother in one day, at the same time in front of their eyes. This is a really difficult thing. No one can cope with this. No one can.
We provided the IDF with a detailed description of timings, events, and coordinates of the Khattab family home. It declined to comment. The Red Cross said responsibility for protecting civilians lies with the parties to the conflict. Robbed of their parents, robbed of their home. 3 orphans in Gaza left to question the incomprehensible. John Sparks.
Thank you, John Sparks. Well done report. And I don't know, exactly what to say to that, except I think what struck me most in that clip, too, was the fact that they were interrogating those little children.
Yeah. I mean, psychopathic.
There's now this propaganda effort to say that, kids and women took part in the Hamas attack on October 7th. I mean, just the most brazen propaganda. And
well, to distract from those images, they say, well, there's tunnels or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us where the tunnels are. Folks, it's really, Biden is older than the state of Israel. Our history is something that we are continuing to live through. And unfortunately, we have abstracted the Holocaust and the genocide there from history and from the course of history and from what genocides we have perpetrated. After the Holocaust, the United States enabled, under Kissinger, multiple genocides, including his role in carpet bombing Cambodia. This is not genocide in the Holocaust. The Holocaust was industrialized, and its scale and its scope and the millions that were exterminated. It's one of the worst crimes in history. But genocides in general are unfortunately still quite common. And it is up to us to make sure that we see the continuation of genocide perpetuation as not a siloed event, but as something that is enabled by systems and by those in power. And so democratizing the term genocide, as I say, and understanding what it really means, I think gives people a sense of like, this kind of warfare, we're calling this war, should no longer be acceptable in modern society. And yet
1.9 million people displaced. I'm sorry, like the idea that you're stepping on any kind of toes with using the term genocide is a preposterous Zionist lie. I mean, it's an insult to that term, and like you say, like what it should actually be used for. And
well, I want to start comparing them to Nazis at this point.
IDF is Nazis.
Because like you want to quibble with the term genocide.
They should be hunted like Nazis were, like in Argentina,
I'm using this
whatever.
in polite conversation. I don't give a crap anymore. Okay.
No.
You gotta let's digest it.
Yeah, Biden's older than Israel. I hope we all outlive it.